Okay, the meeting is now open. 3 Cherry Street. That's a folder, yes. Thank you. Okay. So do we have Mitchell Feinstein on the line, or?
We have Jan Burgess from Infinity, is it, I think? Hi, Jan.
Hey, sorry about that. I was having a hard time with the mute button.
All good.
So tell us all about what you want to do.
What Mitchell Feinstein wants is to install 14 rooftop solar panels on the home, with the max KW 6.440. All the panels are laid out in the same orientation. It's pretty straightforward from there as far as the solar side of the installation. There's no other roofing components or any other electrical equipment being installed, like batteries or anything. So,
Okay, am I reading this correctly? You've got 8 on one side of the slope, and then 4 and 2, 6 on the other side.
yes. On the front side, the 8 are on the front side of the slope, and on the back side is 6.
Is the front side is north facing?
Yeah.
Yeah, northwest facing.
Here's a good time
I
to have those
know.
photos of the front of the house, which I think I took today, but deleted, put on the server and then deleted because, you know.
Do you happen to have photos of the
If you
front
can get on,
facade from looking from Cherry Street?
Did you say you want a front view of the house from Cherry Street?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay, let me see if I can pull one up. Okay, I'm just going to turn to the computer.
it is on the Google Drive if you,
If anyone has a.
hey, do you have access to that on?
Yeah, do we know what the Wi-Fi password is? I can open my computer up. Otherwise I can go through my phone, but that'd be.
I might be able to share it with you, but if I have it saved,
Yeah, was your name?
not connected.
Well, but, right, but the neighbor.
Oh, no, yeah, no, sorry, I was reading this, it said not connected.
Oh,
No, no.
our properties aren't connected, I was like, okay,
Right, right there, very close. I can share it to you, Kate.
Yes, asterisk.
On both sides, either
okay.
side, so.
Can you just share the.
Yeah, I mean, what we'd like to see is the street side elevation,
And where the.
and then as you're facing building from the street on the left side.
Got it.
So do you have any of those photographs?
No, I don't have those photographs available because we do have a file with those photos that were superimposed for this. I don't have access to it remote, but I usually get into work around 6 o'clock in the morning. I can email it over to you guys.
Okay.
There's like.
Yeah, I think we're just quickly looking to see what we have in our sort of informal database. But my immediate concern is that this is a nationally listed area. It's on the street facing side and it's north facing, so it kind of hits the three it's a sort of trifecta, is not, as far as not ideal, so it'd be helpful to see photos to better, to see if maybe we're missing something and it's not as.
Okay, yeah, understood. I can have those, I can have everything sent to you guys. Would you like digital copies or hard copies? We can send both as well.
Yeah, digital is perfect.
Okay.
How about the wiring from the panels? Is that all exposed or does that go into the attic and then go down to the
So,
okay.
with that, there's gonna be a small portion of conduit visible, but typically on our installs, we try to limit the amount of exposed conduit on all the installs. So what we typically do is attic run the majority of the wiring and then wall run the wiring when allowed, like when we can.
Um, I would suggest that, we put this off until December so that we can get better images of this. We're sort of, we're very interested in how the wiring or the conduit is run from the panels to the equipment because your, AC disconnect and, the combiner panel is all, I would assume, surface mounted on the exterior of the building.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. It's all gonna be, so this is the front on the, if we're facing the house on the left side, all the equipment will be on the left side of the house.
Right, yeah, we can see that. It
Yeah.
just, we're sort of curious to see the impact of it
Three.
on the building.
Showing up.
It's on the, I think it's this one. Yeah.
So the blue house
mean-
with 4 windows across the second story.
Can't see that, can you?
Oh, no, I can't see the, from there.
It's right next to, it's one in off of the corner lot. Correct?
Yes, one in from that corner lot,
It's
correct.
This house. Look at how useful my
So
photography project is already to us.
So,
So it's all the power is right there.
So it would just be whatever distance that is to, from the equipment up to the panels, and then everything would be attic run.
And that's where the phone line, the
Yeah,
electricity lines all come in there.
I think that what we need to see for the December meeting, and when is that? December 3rd? If you can forward to us photographs with, I think that, well, photographs of the building, the front facade and the side where the equipment is going to be placed.
Okay, and would you also like the to resend the it's called, the program we use is called Aurora. It's a shade report that shows us like where the best place is to put the panels, and that typically shows when the panels are superimposed. Would you also like a copy of that?
Yeah, that would be great.
Why?
Okay, sure. I'll make sure I include that.
Just show this panel superimposed on the house.
No, you show the optimum location of the panel.
I guess because I'm questioning it, that the fact that they're north facing, ideally they're not street facing. But we've allowed some street facing in one national district homes, some national district homes, if these are.
I mean, they can only fit probably 6 on the south facing.
Right, but if they're not, I mean, we have one panel that's south facing and there's a tree that's close by and it produces nil, right? And so if these aren't optimal
Right.
and they're not aesthetically optimal either, then
Yeah.
I'd be less inclined to, okay, north facing panels. But maybe it doesn't matter either way, they're north facing on a national street. I'd also like a little more time to understand how old this home is specifically, and if this is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, maybe you can explain to us why there are more panels on the north facing side than the south facing side.
Yeah, this is really simple for us. So we can produce production similar to this by laying panels all over the house in a whole different variety of ways, with a bunch of exposed conduit running over the roof and down the side of the house, and junction boxes and things like that. So in order for the customer to get the best producing design on top of the most efficient to build, this is the way that we've come up with and our engineering team has come up with. Other than that, we would have singular panels laying by themselves as a singular array, a one array panel, so to speak. So this is the combination of all those things considered.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is that the 6 panels that are on the south side, realistically, if we were to add any more, they couldn't be contiguous. They would have to be spread on the other
Yeah.
Well,
roofs.
Well, there's two things there. If we added to this system, it would have to match their utility bill over the last 12 months. And so this system is built strictly to the usage of the home over the past 12 months. So it's basically they're consuming very low amounts of power here. It's a very small scale system. So there's probably not going to be additions to this system in the future through this home ownership.
I think you meant, he was meaning if you took away the panels on the north roof, which is facing the street, and added more to the rear. The only way to do that, you cannot have them contiguous with the 6 panels that you currently have planned. They would have to be done like
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, on the other small roof sections. That's correct, right?
Yeah, correct. And they'd all have to be combined with conduit runs, because there would be no way to keep punching in and running those under the roof. We'd have to use a bunch of exposed conduit that would be seen, and then we would have to get into, do we paint the conduit, do we wrap it, etc., things like that. So that's why we typically build it this way, and we let them know. We deny people all the time. We don't have an efficient build for you guys, so there's nothing we can do here. So this is the best that we can do for them, as far as our standards and meeting their needs. So that's why the design is the way it is.
I personally I don't have a huge issue. I think that there's plenty of buildings in the district, including on Main Street and Lower Main Street, that are much more prominent than this, that have very, very visible panels on them. So that part doesn't really, I don't really have an issue with that personally. And I think, given the fact that the power is all on that front corner of the house, it does make sense to keep it all kind of, in that, coming down that side of the house too. So I personally don't have.
So, okay, any thoughts?
Are there properties that have panels that are,
River Architects is right
Well,
on Main Street, and then the
um,
one right on Lower Main Street, that brick building that has the brass monkey now that we approved, that
And
store,
also
they
on
have
Market
a
Street.
lot of panels on that roof.
On Market Street, right across the street from me, they've got panels on the south
Mhm.
side and the north side. Lauren?
I'm thinking of countless examples in the
Yeah.
district,
Yeah,
and they're
But-
essentially removable.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going into the buildings in the same way that other alterations would.
Yeah.
national or
I mean, my feeling is that to some extent, we do in fact need to make accommodations for modernity, so
Yeah.
the panel is,
Also.
yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so for the next meeting, which is December 3rd, if you can send to us, and you can send it electronically, we don't need hard copies. You could send us the images of the front with the panels showing on the roof, as well as the the corner, the side on the left side, what, I guess that's the northeast. All right, so if you can send us those two elevations, we can then process your application. The other thing to show is, the proposed routing of the conduit from, the panels down to the equipment, which, and, showing the location of the equipment on the corner.
Okay,
I would assume it's all gonna be where the current, meter is, or am I correct?
yes.
Right?
For the photos with the conduit superimposed, that's gonna be something that's not gonna come from me, so I'm gonna just need a little bit more time than 7 in the morning tomorrow. I can send you everything else right away in the morning, but that one's gonna have to come from the CAD design team so they can actually mock up the conduit run. And then well, I'll send that once I have it.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey, everybody, thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, you too.
Great night.
Bye-bye.
All right, so we'll put them on the agenda for next week. All right, next week, next meeting.
You, is everyone gonna be in attendance for that meeting, Rusty?
I will be here the third Tuesday.
I think Sean's gonna be here too.
Yes, we will.
Thank you, Sean. Not that-
Okay. Um, okay, Our Lady of Loretto. Come on down and tell us what you would
Or
like
just
to
stand,
do.
or I can do it right from here.
Bring these chairs.
Okay, sure. Lock the camera.
Oh, no, I left something in the printer.
No, they're gonna get there.
Wait for Abigail.
Okay. Print that out, or was that?
This
We got it.
is,
We did get that.
yeah, it's the back, it's just the last pages of the,
Okay,
And we got the.
cleverly hid, and we got the picture.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So, yeah, I'm, Father Thomas Lewis, I'm the pastor of Our Lady of Loretto Church. 24 Fair Street is owned by Our Lady of Loretto Parish. And it's the residents, my residents, and the residents from other priests, as well as the parish offices. Several months ago, we noticed that there was a leak on the second floor inside interior. And, after getting a roofer to look at it, we discovered that roof had deteriorated quite a bit, the slate roof. Over the years, it's probably 80 or 90 years old, the original slate roof. So after meeting with my parish council and finance council and contractor, we decided, because of the number of possible leaks, that we need to replace the roof. Because it costs prohibitive for us, for our parish, we'd like to go with a slate alternative, hydrants that would match the existing slate roof that we have today. And then this is Ray Memo. He's the parish rep, and he can answer any particular questions about the project itself.
okay.
So there's one leak
Uh,
currently in the building,
two
two leaks,
yeah.
and then potential
Potential other leaks
possibly
that are
as
possible.
determined by the roofer.
Right, exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
And are there any photos of any damaged parts? Because everything I
I
see
don't
looks
have
great.
I can get those to you tomorrow. Or even tonight, the interior damage, yeah.
Okay, and just to clarify, we're not talking about the church, we're talking
Correct.
about the
The
rectory.
residence, yeah,
Yeah.
24 fair, yeah.
Have you guys explored repairing the roof
Uh,
rather than a full-scale replacement?
you want-
Yes,
something like that.
we had a proposal from the roofing contractor, a number of them, and it was to repair it, the cost was much more than to replace the entire roof with a new, lifetime guaranteed architectural, shingle. And the color would be like a slate blend to match, what's existing.
Can I get your name one more time?
Ray Memmel, Memmel.
Thank you.
All right, so let's sort of recap the proposed work. So this is the roof that we're talking about. all right? And so currently it is slate, and you're talking about removing all of the slate
Correct,
and replacing it with asphalt shingle, this GAF Ultra Architectural Shingle. All right,
It's the top of the line, lifetime guaranteed architectural shingle, and we would choose a slate blend color to match existing. And from the street, the majority of the roof is not visible.
this, from the street, the
Looks pretty
roof
visible.
of the rectory is not visible?
If we pull up the
It
drawing,
goes, it's from the street, you're looking at the gable end.
Okay.
you're standing
Right,
directly in
okay,
front, yeah.
but the thing is that from the street, as you're walking past, you'll see the sides of
Little bit,
the
yeah.
roof.
Yeah,
Um,
it's exciting.
okay, and the chimney,
at the same time the roof is done, the chimneys and flashing would all be addressed at the same time.
okay, but, and that's all gonna be repaired in kind? In other words, using the same material that was there?
Yes. Or
There
or better.
does say new bricks, so,
If it was tin, it's gonna be replaced with copper.
Okay,
No, it's that aluminum.
yeah,
No,
it
Okay.
says aluminum
Third
on in
aluminum, yeah.
several spots in.
okay,
in here.
well,
Yeah,
it's either gonna be aluminum or copper. It wouldn't, any tin is kind of like tin, and galvanized tin is kind of dated, being replaced with aluminum or copper.
okay, well, for us, it makes a difference, between aluminum and copper. So
Okay.
we have to, make a commitment to one or the other. Well, we would recommend that you go with copper.
Okay.
Now, how about the gutters?
doesn't show that.
The gutters are also gonna be aluminum?
The existing ones are aluminum.
Why is this?
Can you see?
Yeah, well, not really from this angle.
Okay,
Let's see if I have a picture from.
Is the building shared though? No, probably not.
No, no.
okay, and then, so the aluminum or the gutters are going to be replaced with new aluminum gutters to match existing. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right, now, steps between the church and the rectory. And I guess,
This is on the front porch.
The
Area?
side porch.
There's three entrances, so the
Oh.
middle entrance, yeah.
That's the one you're talking about, the middle
That's the slate,
entrance.
has
Okay.
slate and, brick.
It's a very visible building.
Yeah,
so there are cement steps right now and they're gonna be replaced with bluestones,
Yes,
okay?
there's a number of them cracked, and to cast new cement ones, we figured it would be nicer to just make them all nice bluestone.
All right, and we're talking about an existing handrail, which is going to be,
It's the same set of steps. It's very, I think it, I was just going over with Father Lutz before we came here. I think it was replaced at some time. And it's very, in very bad condition. We're gonna replace it with something that's, more substantial in, the type that's existing elsewhere on the, building.
okay. Which, I mean, can you tell us, is it gonna be metal or,
It's wrought iron.
That's what
It's gonna be, it's very,
Is it these steps?
Or is it on the other
That's the front
side,
office, but, yeah, so you go down a little farther,
down the alley
down the alley
between?
on the left, yeah.
Okay,
But that's a good picture
Will
of
you
the,
go down?
I don't think I can go, it's just a photo,
Okay.
so it doesn't
That's-
really.
This, the railing,
see the roof.
it's down around here,
Okay,
and we're gonna replace it with railing to match this and the church.
okay.
I'll show them.
okay, and, stairwell to the basement door,
Yeah, the steps and the door, the steps are, loose, we're gonna, take them up, clean it, power wash it, and put them back down.
right? Okay,
If any, break in the process, we'll replace them with matching.
Bluestone, and then bluestone. Or bluestone, see like that, right, bluestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, any other questions from the board members?
I mean, I think we definitely would need to see cut sheet of the shingle, right, along with the colors. I'm a little hesitant just because in areas, again, it does kind of say different material types and in the chimney. Removing a bunch of brick and then replacing it just says with new brick. We want to make sure that it's matching
It would be.
Yeah, we want to do
the
that. of course.
original, or at least as closely as possible, the color and everything.
Right.
I'm just, it's a lot, a big scope of work.
Also, our standards, say that roofing materials should match the existing historic.
I'm sorry, say that.
This says roofing shall match historic precedent in material size, exposure, color, and texture. So this is not that.
Okay, so in other words, we want them to be committed to things.
Well, I'm not saying that replace the whole thing, but I mean, this is clearly what the standards say.
All right, let's go through, well, first of all, the sense I get at this particular point is that we probably should have a public hearing on this. I mean, this is a notable piece of, or structure within the district, and there is a lot that'll change as far as appearance goes, so I think that,
So, yeah, it's a lot of work,
yeah.
a lot of work. I think.
So,
Fair.
there-
Are some of these items, things that we could allow to progress? For example, the stairwell to the basement door.
I mean,
Right.
painting,
Some of
all of that
these-
stuff is
We
just,
had,
I mean,
we had
that's
a,
just,
insurance company said that they were a trip hazard, so we have to fix where they're broken, so that definitely has to be addressed soon. Yeah,
I mean, we're nearing the end of the painting season. Did they
yeah.
tell you
yeah.
they're gonna be
Right,
able
the
to?
painting would be next spring.
Yeah.
No, that would be later, okay, yeah.
We want to try to repair the, roof before winter, so the leaks don't do any further damage.
Well, I'm not even sure if we need to review the painting. I mean, we
Yeah,
have
that's
no
maintenance.
say over the color. So, I mean,
As
if
long as materials
you're
aren't changing.
painted surfaces,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
where you're doing it in kind. Okay, so, let's, uh, I think that we can have the public hearing on the third. Do we have enough time for all the notices? So you need, what, 2 weeks?
Well, today's Tuesday. It goes in, what? Goes in for Friday, posted for Wednesday,
Okay.
and the requirement is 7 days or 10 for HRB.
Where-
Guys.
Vice
I
Chair
think-
that answers these questions that I don't.
I wanna say it's 7 days, cause
Yeah.
planning board is 10 days. So, yeah, I can put it in for this Friday for Highland Current. I think they'll accept it. And then I can put TCNR in.
That's right. We've got 2 weeks before, the third anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so, we'll go ahead and hold the public hearing on the third of December. So let's go through this and, we can use this, what would be nice is, for things that we're specifically pointing out, you have a little bit more information.
Okay, well, I'll make a list.
Yeah. So, for example, with the roofing, I guess, a catalog cut of the asphalt shingle that you're looking to use.
And maybe photos of the existing,
Yeah.
that like closer if you can, photos of the existing.
Right.
The closer you're gonna get.
This may also be. a
Okay, so the first thing you want is photos of the existing slate, and then you want a sample of the shingle we're gonna use. Yeah, I'll bring up,
What could be nice is if you take the sample and put it next to the existing slate and take a photograph of that.
yeah, I think we could do that. Okay,
I don't know if you notice on the photos, it looks like some of the slate's different color from the other slate. Doesn't it seem like it's not one color?
The angle
on the
or
drawing.
I
lighting
know, it might be the
or-
lighting.
Yeah,
It's hard to.
I mean, it was patched with different, like different tone slate. You can see that pretty good
Right.
over the years.
This is a slightly different trajectory, but I know for some historic public buildings, and I'm not sure if this applies to religious buildings, but there's grants that are available to help with repairs and preservation. I'm looking at Lauren because she.
Yeah, like
knows
there are different tax credits you can get and stuff from the state and other grants.
Mhm.
So that may be something to look into.
Okay.
Because, I mean, slate roofs are rare. You guys
Right.
have one,
Yeah,
and it's so cool.
yeah,
And it's really special and it makes the whole place special. I mean, the church has it, the other buildings have it. And, roofers want to give you a new roof,
right.
right? They, they'll tell you
Well,
there's a lot of leaks.
we initially did price out a slate roof, but patching, and then, but we realized that there was the problem with the damage, interior damage or water damage. That
Mhm.
it was advisable to go with a replacement, so.
But sometimes it's, good to target where the leak is, like it might be the chimney.
Mhm.
And then if you repair the chimney, then,
Right,
everything else
right,
seems less onerous.
And
yeah,
I just mentioned these grants because it could be that they give you 50% of the overall cost and then it ends up balancing out and you feel good about that option. So I just wouldn't want you to take away that option before understanding how the costs play out.
Because once you remove something like this, that's so character defining of the building, you can't get it back.
Right.
It's gone.
right.
And I'm sure your congregation loves this place, so it's just something to think about as a building that's been important to the community for
Sure.
100+ years.
There's 3 buildings on the property. The school building that's behind it has asphalt shingles. So I don't know if that was slate or not. So there's already existing building that has them.
And that's a
That's
pretty
part of that.
building.
And that's on Garden Street. Yeah.
did you tell me or did someone else tell me that another church in Cold Spring had to do the
I
same
think
thing?
St. Mary's had to put an asphalt on part of their roof. Let's say St. Mary's Episcopal. Yeah.
All right,
Because of cost issues, you know,
let's talk about,
yeah.
then install brown aluminum drip edge, rake edge aluminum boots around the vent pipes. But then later on, when you start talking about the chimneys,
It says copper.
it says copper. And so I guess seal the cut between the copper and the chimney to waterproof it properly. I guess the question is that, do we have both aluminum, flashing and, copper flashing?
I think on the building right now, there is, tin or galvanized tin, copper and aluminum. It's a mix of, over the last 100 years, it's been repaired a number of times. The building originally could have had copper gutters on it, 50 years ago.
Mhm.
And somebody came in and replaced them with aluminum gutters, and the slate's been repaired a number of times, and with my experience, I was a contractor for 52 years before I retired. It's always best on a building like this to, if you can take the whole roof off, address the structural issues underneath it, if there's any damaged sheathing or plywood, and then replace it with, a good architectural shingle that's a lifetime guarantee that'll last and save the church money down the road. Because basically a slate roof, you should have somebody in there to inspect and repair it every year or two, Some buildings have to be inspected twice a year, And the cost, for the parish, we started out that way. And we wound up, after he talked to the council that, allows their finances, we wanted to try to find something that was economical for the church. And, I had been told that, like Father just told us, that St. Mary's had, in Cold Spring here, had architectural shingles put on part of it. Basically, if we do the architectural shingles, it's gonna last the church, the next 50 to 100 years,
Right.
And they're not gonna have to go to the expense, 2 to 5 years down the road to fix more leaks.
Right. I guess the question I have is that, is this, aluminum, copper, or tin, these ridge pieces?
I believe there are 10.
They're tin. Okay, well, I think
Because the part, I wasn't able to physically climb up there,
yeah,
but I looked out some of the windows and some other parts I looked at were 10.
okay,
It's either galvanized steel or 10, this
Right.
was traditional from a long time ago.
All right, I mean, my feeling is that, I'll throw this out to the board members, but, if the gutters are going to be aluminum, then probably, we should have a lot of the flashing be aluminum, just so that we don't get into the issue of, mixing different types of metals and having galvanic action.
Well, the
corrosion.
contractor we're using for this job, I've worked with him over the last 15, 20 years. And we're very well aware of the fact that we don't mix copper and aluminum because of the, I can't think of the word right now.
Galvanic actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, if you do have to get to that point, you put a layer of,
Yeah,
asphalt in between them,
right.
a dividend or ice shield, so that they don't touch each other.
Okay, anybody have any other thoughts concerning that?
Replacing the tin or galvanized with aluminum throughout and keeping the copper. That's what you're saying, correct? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the copper would be,
Flashing around the chimneys.
well, right, and, the vent stack.
Chimney. Chimneys, yeah, right, in the back,
There's two chimneys, yeah.
2 chimneys.
Any other thoughts, ladies?
I mean, it's a question about how deep the repairs go, right, if they're going to do a full replacement. Um,
Well, I think what's being proposed is removing the entire roof from, the shingle roof. And if you're gonna do that, then obviously you need to also deal with the flashing because that's going to be disturbed when you do in fact remove the shingles.
I'm not quite sure how to wrap my head around this because, this is such clear language about the materials for the roof in the standards. And I don't, I mean, I feel like, what are we approving that based on what? Like, I don't really understand why we would be approving a non-historic material when there's an existing standard on a whole complex of buildings.
Well, the existing condition is prone to deterioration. So why are we repeating that mistake? Or why are we encouraging that mistake be repeated?
I mean, slate roofs generally last longer than asphalt shingles.
Yeah, oh, they'll definitely I mean, this is a lifetime warranty. We all know that a
Well,
asphalt shingle is not gonna last for
Yeah, I
like
mean,
Well,
75 years here.
everything that's here-
Let alone
Are we talking about the shingles or the flashing?
I'm talking about, I'm taking issue with approving an existing slate roof with an asphalt roof in general, because it does not conform to our standards. Very clearly does not conform to our standards.
In what way?
The standard says, where is it? Oh, I lost it. Here. Sorry, it's really, like, I understand your concerns, it's just hard because we have to think about the whole district and all of the applicants and conforming to the standards that were established over many years too, so.
Okay, so what you're saying is that roofing shall match historic precedent in material, size, exposure, color, and texture. Is
I
that
mean, that's just what it says, and.
right? Well,
You've been here longer, I don't know if this is something that regularly happens, but what makes it happen that you can not do this?
Right.
Well, I guess I'll let the applicant respond to it, but I mean, the question really is that obviously you've looked at replacing or repairing, you looked at removing the existing slate and putting back the existing slate was cost prohibitive. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it was only gonna be a partial repair and it was much more extensive in cost than doing a full repair. Because what's gonna happen is, they were advised and once he came to me to change the proposal from a repair to a architectural shingle, I said, well, if they'll allow that, it would be much, it'll last a lot longer than the existing slate, because if we only do a partial repair on the slate right now, it's gonna need more repair every few years,
Well, when was the last time any repairs were done?
I've been there 5 years, so that wasn't done.
Yeah. I mean, this is the problem.
We have patching on the church, slate patching, so thankfully that's been holding up good. But, and there was an extensive work on that, about, 8 years ago. But,
And did you have that contractor come in and look at this? Were you happy with that contractor?
I wasn't
You
there
weren't there.
for that position, you know, so.
You don't remember?
I-
You-
That wasn't
okay.
It
involved.
wasn't part of
Okay.
that, yeah.
When was the building built?
The church was built 1906, and our rectory 24 fair is about 1907, 1908.
So 1907, so we're talking about, over 100 years as far as the slate roof. I mean, is there any indication that this slate roof was replaced at any point?
You can see that it's been repaired over the years.
Yeah.
From where we could see out windows. We didn't have a lift, you know, the day I was there with the contractors, we didn't have a lift to get up on top of the roof, but what we could see out the windows, it's in bad shape and it's been repaired. And what we're mostly concerned about is because it's probably been neglected, that there could be extensive damage that we don't see. And,
Yeah, this is my career in
when you do a whole new.
window restoration, it's a similar, it's a complex issue. Starting from a fresh new foundation, removing everything, yes, allows you to basically diagnose exactly what's happening everywhere, replace the plywood, where you need to, where it's rotted. If you're just repairing shingles in some areas, you don't get that kind of holistic approach. I think what, Lauren is saying is absolutely correct, that it makes our job a little trickier here because, it's such an important prominent building, and the slate roof is a component of that. I mean,
Well, I guess my concern is that we're talking about 1907 to now, we're talking about 120 something years. I would be very, very surprised to hear that roof is not original. So you're talking about slate that's over 120 years old. I can almost guarantee you that there are issues that we currently aren't aware of, that
yeah, that's,
if you're going to do any work on the roof, you're gonna wind up chasing your tail on this because the slate is now deteriorated. And not all the slate is the same, because there are, I remember at one point there was a guy who talked about the different types of slate. For example, gray slate is not as durable as green slate from Vermont. Gray slate is generally obtained from someplace in Pennsylvania. It's usually a slate, a shale product.
softer versus harder, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it's as simple as the way you're portraying it, Lauren. I think that there are other issues that we really should take into consideration.
But we don't have any of that information.
We don't have
We
it,
don't
that's
know if
correct.
it's gray slate, we don't know if it's blue slate, I have not seen any pictures of damage. We just,
I think some
But
clearer
there are
photos
photos
of the
feature of the building.
damaged slate that you're referring to out the windows, if you don't have the lip there, which you probably don't. But some clearer photos would certainly be helpful. These are helpful to kind of grasp the layout of the building, but they're quite blurry, and it's hard to make out really, again, with the coloration too, it's hard to make out what's what. So yeah, I think photos of the damaged slate would be very useful to see.
or like how many areas have been replaced, like this sort of looks like terracotta, but it might be some weird asphalt shingle, I don't know, but it would be, we just
There
can't
are all
tell.
slate
what's happening.
on the top, but obviously this seems to be a different coloration on some of them, if they were replaced.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can supply some of these, resources for grants, would the parish be amenable to looking into that as an option?
Sure, we could talk about that, yeah.
Time limit.
There's another factor with this too, is the Archdiocese of New York has to give approval after you guys do, so there's like a lot of steps to this. So it's not even us agreeing, it's like, it's a larger project, so
Yeah.
they have to get involved too.
Mhm.
They give permission for RFAs, so they get involved with the grants too.
Oh,
Yeah,
right, that makes sense.
Yeah, they have to.
I mean, that could be. I mean, do they have a slate guy they like to?
No, not necessarily, but yeah, I think it's more they would have to assist with the grants, so, yeah. We don't have a grant writer, so.
First?
Yeah.
I mean, the lifespan of any historic material is gonna depend partly on the quality of the material when it was created and also how it was, or if it was maintained over the lifespan of the building, right? So you could start out with not a great material and then it's not maintained and it's completely shot after 100 years. You could, or the opposite could be true. Or you could have a very high quality material that's also not maintained, and then you're left maybe with, where we are, where it's kind of which direction do you take it? I don't know a lot about slate roofs, but given a little Google search, anywhere from 75 to 200 years seems to be the running. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, of course, it is an issue because it's an issue for everything, but if money wasn't an issue, then I imagine we would all be excited to put a
remove the
new
roof,
slate
remove the
roof
slate.
on or repair a slate, and there'd be less risk because then you just can sort of throw resources at it and maintain it. And I know that's not the case.
Right.
But I wonder how much time we can have to do a little more work to see if there's some way to reasonably preserve what you have without messing with your budget, which I know is hard to maintain in general. So not for you, just with.
In general, yeah.
And not many people
Mhm.
work with slate roofs.
Mhm.
It's rare.
Well, let me ask, are we also advocating for replacing the aluminum gutter?
And
With
I don't-
copper?
I don't think
Yeah.
that's our standard. I think we just say metal in the standards. I don't think we.
Well,
require
I
copper.
mean, if it was copper, then yes, but it's not any
Yeah,
longer.
it's
right? So-
aluminum right now.
Well,
that's
but the
okay.
thing is that at one point it probably was copper because that was what was
Well,
available, so,
But
I
we
mean-
have the slate. We don't have the copper gutter.
okay. I just have had dealings with enough slate roofs to know that when slate is at the end of its service life, it's really hard to do any repairs on it. It just, the tiles are brittle, they break, and you wind up, and realistically, I would recommend that whatever the roof is, it be replaced in its entirety. And the question then becomes, in this particular case, does that justify replacing the slate roof?
The estimates that you got for repair were from a slate roof specialist?
Yeah, the roofing contractor does architectural, asphalt, he does wood shingles, he does, he's
And is
done,
that your,
he's done all of them for me.
But he hasn't been up there yet to actually get his hands on them, because that could be a potential next step in making the decision, is that
I'm not hearing.
was the
what-
roofer able to get onto the roof to inspect the shingles so that we?
Oh, we were touching them.
yeah,
There's a window on the second floor that you can just reach out. We took samples, we took them, a sample of the shingle right off the roof to match it on the first proposal.
okay.
And that was only gonna repair, I don't have it, we did this, 4 or 5 months ago. I don't have that in front of me right now, but we were only gonna repair a certain amount of them that were damaged. But from my experience, what happens is, and he also agrees, once you start repairing it, when you can't lift up a slate and nail it like it was originally nailed. you have to slide a little copper tab in and then, bend it over and hook it. And once you start doing that, it just keeps,
Pandora's box.
it just keeps going and going. And a roof that's 117 years old
Yeah.
is, and it's been neglected, there's a good chance the sheathing underneath it is gone and could be starting to affect the framing. If we take the entire roof off, we're gonna if we see bad sheathing or bad plywood, whatever's under there, and who knows what they've done in the last 117 years. We're gonna replace anything that's bad.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna get a complete coat of ice shield. All the chimneys are gonna be all pointed up and reflashed, and a whole, new entire, the contractor priced the best grade of shingle that's available. As far as asphalt that meets, that can fall within their budget, the church. They've got a limited amount of money, and we're talking to replace it, the whole roof with slate. It's astronomical.
So the quote that they had given you was to repair certain
Certain
areas that are
areas,
clearly damaged,
Yeah.
not removing all of the
Well,
slate
you can,
shingle
if
and then
you,
reinstalling.
if you
the
were there
slate.
standing, you could see the one area we looked at, there was dozens of pieces missing.
So I think if those are visible to you, then some nice clear photos from one of these emailed to us. 'Cause maybe this might have just been something that got printed weird. I think photographs of the damaged areas would be really helpful. I also think that, and of course, a contractor can say whatever a contractor is gonna say, but if this individual that you have been working with had given you a quote and or would be willing to write up a professional opinion / diagnosis of what he encountered, I think that would be useful as well, because again, right now, we're all speculating, at least we are speculating, not having had hands and fingers on it and, close eyes on it. How bad is it? We don't really know. So it's it feels like a big enough deal that information would be pretty useful.
You guys wanna make a site visit, take a look for yourselves?
That could be easily arranged.
Yeah.
Yeah. sure.
When I spoke to the contractor, when I went back to him and I said, can you give me a revised proposal? I'm representing the
Yeah.
church, but I've worked with this particular contractor. I'm not on his side, I'm on the
Sure.
church's side.
Yeah,
And they told me what their budgets were and things like that. When I went back to him and said, can you give me a proposal for architectural shingles? The first thing we both said is,
that would be
is it
better.
gonna be?
Yeah.
Approved, And, then they told me that one of the other churches in town had it approved and they replaced it because of budget restraints, with architecturals. St. Mary's, is that what you said? The contractor he would love to do it. He could make a fortune, doing a whole slate roof. But he agreed with me, the best way to go for the church and to save them money in the long run is to
Yeah.
change it. And it's just a matter of whether being in this district, whether you guys would allow it or not, because you've allowed it in another church. I don't know if that sets a precedent as to what the rules are,
Which
I mean,
church
St.
was
Mary's
that?
is across the street from my house. I'll look tomorrow. I'd never noticed that.
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
being
look at the Methodist church
replaced.
too.
I have not been there to
Yeah.
inspect it. I'm just taking,
Yeah.
What they said to you,
what
yeah.
I've
I
been
don't-
told by Father Lutz, I'm just repeating it.
I don't recall that, but, it's okay.
Yeah, might have been before you guys anyway, I don't know, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the other reason I hesitate is that in order to do a good installation, you need to get good slate. If you go and buy cheap slate and replace it with cheap slate for budgetary reasons, it's going to deteriorate a lot more quickly, and you're not going to get the 50 to 200-year-old durability. And so the question really becomes whether or not overall the installation would be better for the church to go with an asphalt shingle as opposed to a slate. Just due to how it's going to wind up being installed. I mean, I think that an asphalt shingle installation would probably wind up being better for the church because they could install it at a reasonable rate and it'll provide service. I don't know if slate is a character defining feature for this building.
You're reading my.
Eyebrows raised.
Well, I mean, I can see,
would say.
I can see,
I would agree, definitely the church is, I wouldn't.
yeah,
no
the
doubt
church,
about it.
the
Yeah.
church without a doubt, yes. But the rectory,
Well,
I mean, there's not a lot of examples of slate roofs in the village, so I do think that any roof that is slate is a special, feature of the building in this
oh,
village.
Okay.
But, I'm
I
happy to
think-
go take a walk by, I'm sure,
I guess what we need for a public hearing is just more information, making the case for removing historic fabric. Like, we just wanna know why, we wanna see the evidence, we
Well,
just wanna.
If money,
a
if
visual-
money wasn't the object, we would
I don't want
replace it.
to.
Yeah, the whole thing with the best slate there is. No,
I
he
do that on
doesn't
my
have that kind of money.
If you
I-
took
I
a
know.
piece off, did you say you took a piece off or a broken
we-
piece? I mean,
We took,
if you could bring that in, that.
yeah, my contractor has
Yeah.
that because we removed a piece. Actually, it was loose, it was just laying there.
Yeah,
We took a piece so we could match it, because whenever I do any work like that, I like to match existing,
yeah,
I've done over the years of being a contractor, I've done some major historic restorations, down in Riverdale and,
cool.
I was on one job for 3 years, in
Wow.
Riverdale, doing all kinds of matching historic type stuff, and, so
I
I'm very
think-
familiar with the situation. And like I said, if money wasn't the object, we'd love to put a
Yeah,
best new slate roof on there. It's just way, way out of their budget. It's like,
I think,
they just don't have the money.
another, in the proposal, it probably would be helpful, well, not probably, it would be helpful to see the word matching, or as close to possible matching in areas that's talking about the brick, about the mortar. We
That can
understand,
be,
which I know that is the intent, but I think seeing those words,
let's go through this and be specific with them and tell, where we have concerns that they need to.
sure,
And again, photographs and samples would probably be best.
whatever you want. I'll
Yeah.
write down whatever you tell me.
Okay,
We'll take
so-
care of it.
So with the roofing, the asphalt versus slate is under discussion.
but for the
the-
shingles and
And
including
a
the
sample
color.
of the flashing, and realistically, if you have concerns, why don't you go take a look at the slate?
Yeah,
I'm
think, yeah.
going to.
yeah,
Okay, then the other question is the various pieces of flashing.
mhm,
Well, all right. The drip edge and the rake edge, I guess it's the fascia at the dormer. If the gutter is aluminum, should the rest of it be aluminum? I mean, what do we think should be the material that is used there?
Well, because the reason it was stated as being aluminum is because that drip edge is right next to the gutter,
Right. Well,
Yeah, I
and the
think
same
that-
thing with the fascia piece,
I think that makes sense, probably. I mean, if it's tin now,
No, there's a mix of everything on the roof, I believe. I can't say for 100% sure, but from what I saw, it looked like there was aluminum, copper and tin.
okay. I mean, another question again, then is the color of the roof shingle, if they're proposing, I mean, there are 4 options, can we dictate
I will get,
color?
What we can do is we can match, if we go to the asphalt shingle. Because Lauren has raised questions that we should address. If we go to the asphalt shingle, I would say it should match the existing slate shingle as much as possible.
In size, color, and
yeah,
texture.
Right.
So then extend then aluminum, yeah, what color options are there for
well,
the aluminum?
specifically, the best shingle is available in what they call slate blend.
Yeah.
You can bring it right up on your phone, you know, it's, I'll bring an actual sample of the, shingle for the next meeting.
Could you bring up the existing slate too?
Yeah,
so we can- Great,
sure.
thank you, that would be helpful.
So, asphalt shingles aren't gonna have the same texture as slate.
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
Of course.
Okay, so getting back to the flashing, I guess the ridge cap and so on. How about the valleys, are those flashed? Or is that this valley here?
They look like they are, right?
yeah, I'd have to go through the contract. What he wrote, if you're going through it, while I'm writing, did he specify, that, or do you want me to try to find it in the contract?
Basically, remove all slates, all tiles, including the flashing such as drip edge, rake edge, boots around vent pipes, and copper flashing around chimneys, step, counter, and apron flashing.
Well, and the question really is that, do we feel strongly about tin? I mean, I think that as far as the drip edge and, pieces that come down to the gutter, if the gutter is to be, aluminum, then I think those pieces should also be aluminum.
I think that makes sense. I think color, given the amount of it on the roof, feels important.
Yeah, and I mean, I would assume that aluminum flashing we can get with a certain finish as opposed to bare aluminum.
Yeah, the gutters come in the gutters and drip edge come in a number of colors. We've used, the church has got a lot of green on it. This building's got a lot of brown on it, and the existing gutters are brown. And you can get matching drip edge and matching flashing for the brown,
Okay.
but they also come in other historic colors. And I've used, green, like there's a lot of it on the church. So if there's some particular, what we wanna do is we wanna fix the building, and I like to match it as close to the original as possible.
Right.
So we could, be there painting or looking at something while we're working, we might find this building was originally green, not brown, someone painted it brown, and, things like that, but the gutters and the drip edge, it would all be matching. Where it's
think-
appropriate to put copper, we're gonna put copper.
All right, so then let's talk about the things that we see. We know that the drip edge and the gutter are gonna be aluminum. The ridge cap and the valley flashing.
Well, the ridge cap doesn't have to, with the asphalt shingles, you get an asphalt ridge cap, you don't get a tin roof cap. That's only appropriate for slate.
Okay, and then the same thing is true of the valley with the asphalt shingle.
I didn't finish reading to,
And install brown aluminum drip edge, rake edge, and aluminum boots around the vent pipes.
There's a program called the National Fund for Sacred Places.
That's the one that I couldn't remember.
And it seems like they have significant grants for roofs. And that your parish meets a lot of the criteria that they're interested in seeing as far as
National funds for
National Fund for Sacred Places.
sacred.
It's in collaboration with the National Trust for Historic Preservation. They offer grants of 50K to 175 as a one-to-one match, and then additional grants that go upwards to $500,000.
I was trying to, get a hold of the contractor, he's out of town for the holidays. And I think he's out of the country, actually. So I wasn't able to get a hold of him. I don't specifically see in the roofing. But I will, when I get a hold of him, I will clarify you what the valleys are gonna be
Okay.
done with.
Because I
It
would
is.
assume, with the valleys, you can also weave the valleys with a,
No, I don't think he's gonna weave them. He's gonna, it's either gonna be aluminum or copper.
well, if that's the case, I think that let's keep the aluminum at the gutters and drip edges and all of the other places copper.
Okay,
Because we're talking about two valleys, the flashing around, the vent stacks and the chimneys.
yeah, he specifies in here all around the chimneys, all the copper will be soldered, and so we know that we wanna do the chimneys in copper, it's much more durable.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so chimney rebuild, I think the line that Todd was concerned about says, then rebuild the crown back properly with new bricks.
Mhm.
There should be new bricks to match existing.
Yeah, okay.
New bluestone caps on each chimney.
What was that last thing you wanted me to?
There are bluestone caps currently, and they just need to be replaced. Can you tell in the pictures?
It says install new bluestone cap on each chimney.
I think that we're upgrading that to the bluestone cap.
Okay.
I think that at least the one picture of the one chimney that we do see does have like a bluestone cap. Okay, gutters we talked about, essentially to match existing. And then, the steps and the handrails is something which, would be nice if we can have pictures so that at least we can say, I don't think that, we have any objections to what they're saying.
Yeah,
It's quite obvious if you're there, you probably should make a site visit.
yeah, I'll walk by
These,
tomorrow.
there's no cap on either of the chimneys you can see in these pictures. We're gonna install a nice bluestone cap.
And, as we said before, as far as painting goes, we really don't, if it was painted before and you're repainting it, that's all we can
Yeah,
say.
it would be historic. We're gonna try to match. If the rectory's been modified over the years, when we start to do the work, we're gonna try to match everything as closely to the church as possible.
Yeah, and the thing is.
I
we have-
don't like doing jobs that look like they've been
Yeah,
modified, it's like,
yeah,
I like to match everything to existing.
cool.
Okay,
That's why I'm representing, because you know, Father Lutz doesn't have the contracting experience that I do.
Yeah.
That's why I'm representing him to make sure the job is done
It's a
right.
lot,
He
it's a
doesn't
lot.
pre- He doesn't preach either, so.
okay, any
Okay.
questions as far as what we're looking to see at the public hearing?
Well, so far, you've told me you want, we're gonna I'm gonna get a shingle there, a sample shingle there. Right next to the window where the slate is. I
Right.
can't lay it out on the roof. I'll get it there. If you guys wanna do a visit, let me know when, you know?
Mhm.
If not, the next meeting, I will bring a piece of slate and I'll bring he states in here specifically in the contract. The best shingle is only available in 4 colors.
Yeah.
And one of them is slate. So I imagine we're gonna go with the color slate, you know?
And then just as, you know, as many photos as you can with your phones would be great.
Okay, what telephone number should we reach out to? The thing is we
Can't be
can't,
mine, you mean for a site visit, mine.
yeah, for a
sure.
site visit. I mean, it can't be a group site visit because as soon as we have
Breaks the
3
law.
members, becomes a meeting.
Oh, wow,
So,
okay.
Well, one or two of you come and, just call Father Lutz, make an
Yeah.
appointment.
That's all.
He'll tell me, and if I'm physically able to make the meeting or
Okay.
visit, the site visit, not the meeting.
What's the best phone number?
Yeah, 845. 821. 5479, 845,
5479?
845, 821, 5479, yes,
Okay,
that's my cell phone.
okay.
Okay.
And I live there, so that's easy, I can, drive around. Yeah,
The,
We preliminarily approve the stairwell to the basement door. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but
I think what we'd like to see is, photograph and a little bit more description.
I'm gonna walk, I'd like to go by
Yeah,
and just,
sure.
yeah, I mean, that's not gonna,
The
2
whole-
weeks is,
when I talked to Greg, the building inspector,
yeah,
he said, he can't give us the building permit until we get the approval for the architectural shingles instead of the slate. So we can't do anything until we make a decision on whether or not you're gonna allow us to, put the best architectural shingles in a slate color on the roof instead of repair to the existing slate, which is only gonna be putting a Band-Aid on the issue, you know?
Okay, all right, so, hopefully we'll,
The other questions you had was, what are the valleys gonna be made out of, and, put in the contract that the, new brick to match existing,
Right.
brick, and what I'll do is I'll go through, when I get a hold of the contractor, I'll mark this up and make
Yeah.
sure the wording throughout the entire contract is according to the historic,
I think the mortar is
Yeah.
important.
Mortar
It's-
too,
it's
if you wanna write-
particularly the
yeah,
size.
I already went over that with
Yeah.
him.
right,
Um,
and photographs of the steps, the work at the steps. And that's so that we can, we can approve something that we give to the building inspector. I mean, ultimately, he's the one who needs to verify that the work was done in accordance with the approvals.
Mhm.
So we need to be able to show him what we reviewed and what we agreed to.
do
Okay.
you think of a written sort of testimonial or from the contractor about his opinion, professional opinion on the condition of the roof? Would you
Well, he,
care to see
right
that
he highlighted in paragraph 1 here,
at
the
the bottom?
bottom 4 lines, if you read that,
Yeah,
that's basically his opinion that believe me, he would have loved to have gotten another couple $100,000 to do a whole slate roof, it's.
I think it doesn't, what we need as far as documentation goes is to, what we need to send to the building inspector so that he knows, what work was approved. So, the building inspector needs to know whether it's gonna be slate or the asphalt shingles. I think that, the recommendations and your opinion as far as the condition of the existing roof really has more to do with our decision as opposed to the building inspector's decision. Okay,
Okay, so do you think I gotta know how quickly I can, try to get a sample shingle over there. Do you have any idea when you might wanna make a site visit and who might be doing it?
I could go tomorrow morning or Friday.
I'm not gonna be able to get a shingle that quick.
Next week, Monday, and then the following week.
Yeah,
I'm sure my contractor probably can get the sample when he gets back in this country, but I don't know when that's gonna be. It's probably gonna be after Thanksgiving.
All right.
after Thanksgiving is gonna be right, our meeting is a couple days
Yeah.
after. So I mean, maybe just bring the sample of the shingle and the slate to the meeting.
Yeah, well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
think
that.
that's fine. I think that's
Okay.
fine. And then we will do a site visit and we'll get in touch with you.
Yeah, but if you, well, what would be useful if like the two of you wanted to go out there? You could go out there, he'll bring you up to the window and
Yeah,
show
we
you
can-
the
exactly.
condition,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see it
which
right
is
out.
better than
On the
any
third floor,
photograph.
On the third.
And then
floor.
you can see the railing and the steps, and he can easily show you, we're gonna match
Yeah.
the railing that's very flimsy and attached to the broken steps, I think was replaced. The original railing is gone and they replaced it with a much inferior railing and
Yeah, it'll all
we're
make
gonna
more sense when
restore
we
it
have our eyes on
to
it.
the original style,
Okay.
which is on the church and on the front part of the building that you could
Yeah.
see on your laptop,
Yeah, perfect.
so you could see that and then, and then you could also, see how much of,
To see the damage and stuff, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I mean,
And so, for the public hearing, there are, some notifications that need to be made. Abby, you'll, give them all the information of what they need to do. Stick a sign out in front and stuff like that,
Okay,
Fun stuff.
okay, fun stuff, okay.
all right?
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
so that besides the samples, there's just these 3 questions and then I'm gonna go through the contract and make sure all the wording matches.
Yeah,
Right.
samples and
That's
photos. I
existing.
mean, we're gonna go, but I don't know if Al will get there, so photos would be great to have here as well.
Well, we can have that done by
Yeah,
then.
cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Too.
Oh, boy, going back to August, what?
If you still.
Don't we have minutes from August to?
Only them, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are you adding everything?
Remember.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. They're like 4 pages long, which honestly, I didn't go into too much detail.
Make comment remarks at the start.
Mm.
Member reports.
At least I felt planning board.
What are the reports? I wanna see
Uh-oh. Careful. You're looking for a vice chair right now, not a mass resignation by.
Willoughby High Street is James Hartford, not Beth Fiddler and Ann McBride.
Yeah,
Um, I
And Beth
know
and Ann came for,
she's on, Kemble.
Kemble, yeah.
oh, okay. Both architects and owners?
Yeah, the architect and so the architect would be James Hartford.
The architect is James Hartford.
This is the meeting they were,
Were they both here?
James and Julie
Yes.
did,
Oh, 'cause
they
they're
had the
doing
client
here.
and then they did their own, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was, it was quick.
Wait a minute, isn't Beth Sigler also an architect?
Yes.
But not for 23 High Street.
James and Julie.
23
were-
High is the,
Okay, yeah,
Modification.
Yeah.
yeah,
Ann McBride is the owner,
I would not have 23 High Street.
right. Right, in other words, this is incorrect.
No,
No, that's
the-
correct. That's correct.
That was, these two came in for,
Kemble.
Kemble Street on some other date. I don't know if that was, it was on the date or not.
Okay,
It was,
so, who is the owner?
Actually, Anne was.
I can check. I should have it here somewhere. I should have checked. Hi, is Joshua Hayden. He's the owner.
I feel for 5 Furnace Street, I feel like we should add something about that, kind of connecting portion of the building, because I thought that was an important reason why we allowed such a modern structure, and I just think that should be in the minutes.
I
You might
worry,
make that-
I agree with you. 5 Furnace comes up in like 4 different meetings.
Yeah.
We're reviewing it all separately, so it's getting.
Oh, okay, all right, just kidding, okay. Oh, sorry, I was like, if it's later, we'll do it.
Look at
Oh,
all the
because that
meetings
was,
comprehensively, if it would be cohesive. because
Yeah.
Editing and not remembering what was said.
What meeting?
okay.
I think you make a good point, though. I was watching it, and I think you two were mostly talking about that kind of stuff. I think what I mostly put down was what Kate was concerned about.
Yeah.
Which was the floating cube. They have a word for it in. Yes, I had to look that up. I'm like, wow, you know? But, no, I think that's a good point. I can.
Do you
include
wanna
that.
put, like,
Well, this is such a hot button one, right? Like, it's like a.
and this is really just about sending it to the public hearing.
Oh, okay, then I guess we don't have to put it here. If it's a later one, then we can do it. Not a later one.
I wasn't here. Was I here in September?
When did we approve it?
I think for September.
We approved it
Yeah,
in
it says it was
September.
scheduled for September 3rd, so this actually is the meeting before it goes to public hearing, so it would make sense to say, you know, we're asking to please make these modifications before.
Yeah, like, don't take away that existing.
So
historic
one more
fabric in
bullet
the
point
middle.
and,
Yeah,
God, what was the, I mean,
it was like a 1950s edition that they chopped half of it off of, and we asked them to just keep it as a
to
whole.
keep it back, keep the roof line.
Keep the roof, like.
Keep the roof
that
line
Structure,
and-
and then add the new cell on top
Yeah.
of it.
Does that
'Cause
give
I
you
think-
anything to go on there?
yeah.
Okay,
Cause that's important, right? 'Cause
I think it made a lot
we
more-
approved
They made
this
that too.
because we kept a lot, because we kept the historic
yeah,
fabric.
yeah.
We didn't remove it.
Okay. That worked.
Fence.
Thanks.
Lauren, you weren't here that day, but I think it was reiterated in your absence and you were referenced.
Sorry, what day?
Yeah.
August.
Yeah,
You weren't here for this meeting?
but you.
I like
You said previously, and we just reiterated it, that's why.
Okay.
All right, make that
Yeah.
bullet point in my
Yeah.
name, put that, because I do remember bringing that up and feeling like once they did make that change, it did kind of, it helped me get
And
there.
I think, I wanna say you touched on it the following meeting. That sounds,
She definitely was the one who originated it, and I think we said in Lauren's absence. I think I said, honestly, I have issues with this, and Lauren's not here, but Lauren wanted this thing to happen, so basically maybe you'll have better luck if you add this in. Maybe you'll get one more vote, and they did. So it's, yeah, all of these comments have been made in various ways over the course of all these meetings, but
I mean, it doesn't matter who said, like, I think it's important to put in.
I agree.
On 31st Street, it says, the motion was to approve the application as modified. How was it modified?
that's a really good question.
I don't know if there was any modification.
This also, they had to come back twice. I think the first time we said, why don't you hold off and we'll see if the neighbor will adjust their fence.
Oh,
The second time, we said, okay, we approve yours because that's too complicated.
And no, the first time we said, let's see if we can get the building inspector to address the issue.
Yes.
And the building inspector bailed on us, and so we said, okay, fine. So, but, I mean, to approve the application as modified or as submitted?
Submitted. About windows.
Oh, is this the building?
This is
These
the
are all difficult. to
cornice
understand.
thing,
This is
right?
not
This is
the
the cornice.
Yeah,
prior
was
minutes,
this
so
the
we know
surprise
if
when
it's
we were like, oh, you're
developed or
bringing?
not yet.
Well, I wanted to discuss that after.
Oh.
these were
Remember
approved,
that
if
when we were like, oh, but it's.
Approved or, but I know you guys had that meeting in October and I'm not quite sure if you.
Oh, Sean took notes. So he will know.
Uh-huh, and I saw, I think, the notes for May and June, I did not scroll so far to
Because
see any
the
notes.
current windows there are vinyl,
Okay,
so he
let me
was just
pull it
proposing installing new vinyl
Okay.
windows.
July
Proposed
second
changing
agenda, which will
like
make
that.
us less,
The light,
we'll have to their
the
members.
number of
I
lights,
think.
the
I don't think
configuration.
that happened.
Okay, July second, we. Oh, so 15 Campbell was July second, so that, and McBride thing can get struck, that doesn't exist on this app this month at all. And then 159 to 161 was in July, so this is at least the second time he's been back to us, and
So we should have been talking about the cornice here.
a new business, so this
Yeah.
is the first time last, and we didn't get very far with them, we just asked them to come back with more information.
I have Al commented that the cornice needs to relate to the storefront, I wasn't quite sure
Oh.
about the cornices.
There was, I think the general consensus was that what he was proposing, was too complex,
Too ornate.
ornate
And there was.
for a simple building, even though that is what is now installed.
No, he did
I'm
modify
sorry.
it.
Did he?
Yes, he did. He originally proposed,
The scale of it looks the
The
exact same as.
application he modified, but the.
I would be
the
curious to
physical
know if
built
it-
Form, is that to the scale of application?
well,
That would be great.
I disagree.
So gigantic.
And he brought a tape
I
measure out
think,
there.
I think it is noticeable because it's a little bit more prominent, but he originally had something which was spaced that had nothing to do
The
with
spacing
was-
was maybe altered. I think that he was supposed to reduce the scale of it, which really made no sense because he had basically had it all built
Yeah.
already, so
He was
I,
gonna Do whatever he wanted.
I think at this point, we just hope that he actually finishes the rest of the building and then it will relate a little bit better, because it certainly is large.
Okay, do you have anything else?
Well, the bottom of the second page, just my name is wrong. Yeah, that's okay. C. Kircher.
Oh, no.
That's okay. And then building should be just singular building.
Sorry, let me
That's all right.
follow along.
These.
The last sentence of the second page. Board comment. T.C. Kircher. Yeah, right there. Yep. Oh, it's spelled wrong. That's why a couple times. Yeah, it's IR.
Oh.
SEEKIRCHER.
And then at the end of that sentence, just drop the S off of building.
Okay. Is that name Dutch,
German.
German?
Same difference, right?
Depends on who you
I
ask.
Well, just because it's Sea Church,
Yes, more or less.
Sea Church.
Church.
In
church
German,
is
Dutch,
like,
sea
Violent.
means ocean and Kirch is church.
just my last name. We're a church going by the sea people. apparently. I
Transliteration,
don't know,
why,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like.
Well, it's, they built churches and, I mean, right over here, what's his name? The Catholic Church by the,
Chapel Restoration.
yeah, that was built right next, because it was a prominent location on the river. So that's where they built
I
it.
think, yeah.
And right next to the foundry workers.
Mhm.
houses.
Does this need to be added to at all? The cornice needs to relate to the storefront. Do we need to expand on that?
I mean, I think we maybe say there was a lot of discussion about whether or not the existing cornice needed to be removed.
Needed to, yeah, be
all.
removed or replaced at
Yeah.
all. And the remarks, unless this was done in July, but also the remarks around the, I mean, I don't know how you would say that in words,
That came
the
in
spacing.
the next time, I think. The
Oh.
first meeting he showed up
Oh,
and
the
had
spacing
nothing.
between
the
Oh,
The
okay.
second meeting, he showed up and had some photos and we said, can you just come back with like drawings?
Okay,
So I don't
okay.
think it's new materials. I think it's new materials, like please bring materials to the following meeting.
Okay.
And then the page prior, comment from applicant, I would change it. It says Jay Miller has revealed that the proposed windows were vinyl because of the current replace. I just say has revealed that the proposed windows are vinyl because the current windows are vinyl.
Yeah.
And then it says he also proposed changing the framing due to its condition, but is that the
I think it's the
cornice?
configuration of the windows, of the lights in the windows, right?
No, I think that was the framing around, like the actual, the trim
the
and
trim?
wood
The
framing
casing.
around the windows,
Okay.
casing, yeah.
Okay, the framing casing. Okay.
Forge Gate, I thought that was deferred,
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no vote.
because, if I remember correctly, that was something which needed to be approved by the condominium association.
Yeah, so we talked about it, and then the next meeting, they
They-
had withdrawn
they
that.
withdrew it, right.
So this,
But I think the questions were for the applicant who were supposed to be in contact with the board, and then
Yeah.
I ended up being in contact with the
Oh,
board.
okay.
That's at least from my memory. And then these questions were asked
Yeah.
in the video.
Mm.
But I'm not quite sure at what point, because they withdrawn and, you know what I'm saying?
So
Like,
should
Yeah.
we just add a note? Would it be appropriate to add a note to this saying,
no, because I think the next meeting minutes should,
oh, yeah, okay.
right?
Right.
When you tell us.
So the last bullet point should probably just say, are the grills surface mounted? And then I guess your computer probably has learned the incorrect spelling of my last name and now is gonna prompt you to do it that way.
Okay,
Yeah,
and I think the only thing I need, at least for the adjournment, is actually the time. I forgot to put down. Is that all?
All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as modified?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes as modified.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I do want to point out that, I asked Abby, and we have not received any applications for the vacancy that Thorn will be creating.
Was it posted in the paper or something?
Yes.
Does that have? Okay.
Oh, it was?
So what I'm gonna ask Abby, if you can send an email which has the application to all the board members. Reach out to friends, family, people who are living life too easily.
Are we allowed to reach out to prior applicants?
Yes.
Can we,
That's
should we start?
Well, yeah, basically, prior applicants, we reach out to prior applicants, send them the notice and say, listen, there's no thing. You're
Michael,
still interested, please, submit your resume.
And they can live in the village and they can rent or own? Like, do they need to own? Does it?
I don't think so.
I think that they just need to be residents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
So send the email to all of you
right.
with the application in it, which is what you sent me. a couple
Yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah, in other words, so that we can then turn around and,
Are we
send
still
it to.
recording? Do we have to be recording?
Yeah, I'm adjourned.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't adjourn.
We have a motion for the minutes.
I was just curious. Yeah, I don't know if we wanna reach out to all previous applicants.
I think that,
But there's one or two that I think
well,
will be good.
we have to go through an interview process
Mhm.
for everybody. So, the previous applicants who may not have been up to snuff,
That's why, yeah, I
Okay.
guess so.
well,
Yeah, you don't have to start discussing.
Yeah, we just
Okay.
can't talk about, names. I don't wanna.
right.
It's a public opportunity to apply for any.
I guess I'm
There'll
just-
be interviews after.
I get, I'm kind of just saying there may have been a couple applicants. I don't think we want to send a blanket, please reapply to some people that maybe were not qualified. We welcome that they were interested, but I would not want them to think, this is,
Well, okay, the thing that you have to keep in mind is that you should send it to the people that you think should apply.
okay.
And that will apply to everybody. So there may be people that I would recommend that you think.
Oh, you think so, do you?
OMG,
Alright.
OMG. But I will send it out to people who I think may. Yes. So,
Yeah, okay,
all
cool.
right, because the deadline is the 29th of November,
Oh,
right?
God, really? Which obviously is going to be extended if we have 0 applicants.
Really?
Well, I don't know. I mean, even if we extend it, I mean, are we gonna,
What happens if
We're
we
not
don't
gonna
find
just like
anybody? by then?
permanently become a 4-member board, hopefully.
Not too bad.
You're like, I like it better.
I'll take on 2 votes.
Okay.
So November 29th,
Which
because
is
Sean's
next.
gone as of December 1st, or is he gone as of January?
No, December is going to be his last meeting.
how
And
do you
so,
process?
yeah, what you have to keep in mind that we don't make the selection. We make recommendations to the Board of Trustees. And they appoint the person. So.
Okay.
All right, yes, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Have a second, all in favor, say aye. Okay, we're done.
I did have a question about what the vice chair role entails, though, realistically, because I feel like Dawn was gone for most of the time
Okay.
that we were here, and I really
Oh,
have no
oh,
idea.
yeah, you're right. You
I
guys-
have no idea
oh,
what he does.
Well, actually,
Well,
one,
we've survived.
yeah, one thing which I do want to raise. Did you guys get the Larson Fisher survey? I sent that to both of you.
Hold on.
Big spreadsheet.